So then, I'm hoping by now that you feel at least a little comfortable with Vue.js and you're beginning to see how it can be so useful to create web applications with it. Now, thus far, we've been using the Vue CDN in a script tag on our HTML page like this to load Vue.js in. And this way of working is absolutely fine, especially if you don't necessarily want Vue to control your whole application, but perhaps just parts of it, like certain widgets on your page. However, for larger projects which will have multiple different pages controlled by Vue, I think it's a better approach to create a more robust development workflow with Webpack. And this will be beneficial to us for a few different reasons. First of all, it's going to allow us to use ES6 features not already supported in browsers by default. We can also use it to compile and minify our code into one JavaScript file for production. And it will allow us to use single file Vue templates, which are a really cool thing, which will allow us to modularize our code. And we'll learn all about that in this chapter and later chapters as well. And it will also allow us to make use of a live reload development server. Now, fortunately, we do not need to worry about setting up a Webpack file ourselves to enable all of this. That is really good news, right? The Vue team have created a command line tool which will set everything up for us from scratch and create a boilerplate project to start with. Now, we'll be using the Node Package Manager, or NPM for short, to install the Vue CLI among other packages later on in the course as well. So to do that, you'll need Node.js installed on your computer. Now, fortunately, that is very simple to do. All you'll need to do is head to nodejs.org, then click one of these buttons to download either version to your computer, either 8.11 or 9.11 at the time of recording this video. Now, for everyone watching this video, this version will do for this course. If you want the latest features, you can download this version as well. So once you've downloaded that, follow through with the installation steps to install Node and NPM onto your computer. Now, to make sure that you do have it installed on your computer, we'll just do a little check. I'm going to open up my terminal inside Visual Studio Code by pressing Ctrl-T. Remember, that's not the default key binding for opening up my terminal. I created that myself. And if you want to see the key binding for opening your terminal, go to this cog, then go to Keyboard Shortcuts and search for Toggle Terminal. So once you have a terminal open, doesn't matter where you are inside it, which directory, all you need to do to check you have Node installed is type node space -v, and that should give you the version number that you have installed. Mine is 8.1.4. Now, if you don't see that version number, it could be two things. First of all, you might just have to restart your text editor or terminal. So close it off, reopen it up and type node space -v again. Hopefully that will work. If it still doesn't work, then it looks like Node is not fully installed on your computer correctly and you'll have to do it again. So then, now we have Node installed on our computer, we can use the Node Package Manager to install packages such as the Vue CLI. So to install packages, what we typically do is say npm for the Node Package Manager, install, and then the package name, okay? So we'll be doing something similar for the Vue CLI. Now, I just want to point out that at the minute, at the time of recording this, Vue are working on a new Vue CLI tool. Now, the current status of this is beta, so it's not recommended for production. And for that reason, I won't be using this new version for this course. But once it's fully released, I will tack on an extra few lessons at the end of the course explaining how to use it and how to get you up and running with it. That much said, there's absolutely nothing wrong with the way the current Vue CLI works for our purpose. It's brilliant. So, to install this CLI, we're going to have to do this. npm install to do a package. We're going to install it globally, so we'll type --global, then we're installing the Vue CLI. So, let us go now to our text editor, and inside the terminal, you'll need to write npm install --global Vue-CLI. Press enter and that will install this tool, the Vue CLI, globally on your computer so that you can use it anywhere in the computer whatsoever, independent of whichever directory you're currently in. Now, I've already done that, so I don't need to do it again. But once you've done that, now we can use the Vue CLI to create a new Vue project. So let's have a look how we do this. I'm going to open up the browser again, and you can see we can create a new project using this line here. So we say Vue, first of all, then init for initialize a new project. Then this thing here, this is the template. Now, if we type in Webpack, we're going to set up the standard Webpack template, right? Then this thing here is your project directory. What do you want to call your project? Now, there's several different templates that we can use. We're going to use the Webpack simple one to begin with, because I think it's easier to introduce you to Vue and the Vue CLI that way. So let's do this. We'll head back over to the text editor, and I'm going to say Vue init to initialize a new project. Project is going to use the Webpack-simple template, and we're going to call this my project. So once you've done that, just click enter. This is going to take a couple of minutes to set up and install on your computer. And by the way, make sure you run this inside the directory that you want to create this project in. I'm doing it inside the Vue Firebase directory. Okay, so whenever we make a new project with the Vue CLI, Vue is going to ask us a series of questions first about the project. So first of all, the project name, and in brackets it says my project. We can accept that by pressing enter. That's absolutely fine. The project description, I'm just going to keep the same as well, a Vue.js project. The author, that's fine. And incidentally, this email address no longer exists. So please don't try to email me and then think I'm ignorant when I don't get back to you. So that's fine as well. License is fine. Use Sass. No, we don't want to use Sass. And then this is going to create this project for us. Now, it says here to get started, cd into my project first of all. So we'll do that. We'll change directory into my project, and incidentally it's just created this folder right here. And by the way, this index.html file, this is from the last chapter. We don't need that anymore, so I'll delete it. Don't need that. Okay, so then we can run npm install. That's going to install all of the project dependencies for us. So if we run that, it's going to take just a few minutes to install those, but while it does install those, I'll show you through this folder right here. So first of all, we have this Babel config file right here. That's just some configuration for Babel. We also have this editor config file. We don't need to worry about that either. We have a git ignore file created for us. That's just in case we want to push up our files to GitHub at some point. So that's really cool. It's there ready and waiting. We also have a package.json file, which is going to keep track of our dependencies as well as our dev dependencies as well. And when we said npm install, Node took all of these different dependencies and installed them into the Node modules folder right here, so we can use them inside this project now. When it did that, it should have also created this package lock file as well, which is just another way to keep track of our different dependencies. You should see a README file which contains instructions about how to get up and running, and this is pretty much the same as what was logged to the console right here. We should also see this webpack.config file which Vue.js created for us. So behind the scenes, it's kind of set up all of this configuration for us, so we don't need to worry about it. We're not really going to be going into this webpack file or any of these other files, except for the index file maybe later on. This is all ready and waiting for us to work with. Now, the stuff that we're interested in is mainly going to be in this source folder. This is where we're going to write all of our Vue code, but I'm not going to explain that in this video. I'll leave that till the next video and give you a little break for now.